In this webcast, we're going to teach you how to tell better stories with Melanie. Let's go. Hey everybody, this is Antoine Dupont with Catapult Marketing, and this is webcast number 35. And today we have Melanie Deziel from Jersey City. Hi Melanie, how are you?
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for being here. It's a bummer because you had to shut the curtains down, and you have a beautiful scenery. It likes typical American scenery. I thought it was beautiful, but we had to close the blinds, otherwise we couldn't see her face.
Exactly.
So Melanie, you are, in my opinion, one of the leading experts on native advertising in the United States, and certainly a great influencer in content marketing. You are, if for anyone in the digital marketing space, you would be the person to go to, hey, Melanie, tell me the truth. So people in the content marketing probably know you, but for the few people out there that don't know you, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and why you get up in the morning?
Absolutely. So like you said, I'm Melanie Deziel, and I'm based out here in New York City. My primary driver is helping people learn to tell better stories. I am a storyteller at heart. I started out studying journalism, so I was into investigative reporting. I did arts and cultural criticism, and those are, as it turns out, the two least employable versions of a journalism degree. So I found my way into the marketing side of things, where I use those same skills that I learned in the journalism world and apply them in a marketing context, helping marketers to think more like journalists and tell better stories. So I started out at Huffington Post. I helped build the HuffPost Partner Studio, which is their brand storytelling team for all content that lives on HuffPost. I was the first editor of branded content at the New York Times, so did the same thing there, built out that brand storytelling team, T-Brand Studio. I spent a little time at Time Inc., kind of laying the groundwork for what became their brand storytelling team. And for the last 2 years, I've been doing this independently as a consultant, a speaker, and now as a professor at Fairleigh Dickinson University, just taking those lessons from the world of journalism and helping people to apply them in a marketing context.
Wow. Okay. I am officially impressed. That is quite the resume. Huffington Post, New York Times. You had me at hello. I mean, this is pretty impressive background. So, for all of you out there, if you want to know a little bit about content marketing, open your ears and start to listen, because we have an expert. And I know that basically who you are for me is you basically you teach marketers how to write better stories, because obviously we're still in the era of content marketing. I remember in 2010, 2012, it was exploding. Everybody was writing blogs like they were going out of style. And I've been saying lately that if you're continuing to write content like it's 2012, you are wasting your time, and you're a great expert in there because you know the importance of telling a great story. And this is what we want to talk about today, the 5 keys to effective storytelling. If you're writing content, if you're not writing a story, you're probably doing it wrong, right? Let me say that again. If you're writing content and you're not telling a story, you're probably doing it wrong. All right, so you have, in your teaching, you are using an acronym, and the acronym is TRUTH, TRUTH, which is the 5 keys to effective storytelling. So the first one is T, obviously, is teach. So tell us about what do you mean by teach?
Right. So one of the things that happens as brands, we've all been in that brainstorm where you're like, okay, we need 5 blog posts for this week. What are we going to write about? Or we need to make 3 videos this week. What are we going to go shoot? And you can have this tendency to feel like you don't have stories to tell. And so one of the things that the first thing you can do is look for the experts. Who are the experts in your organization, in your company, and what can they teach your audience? Because the things that are so easy to us, or so basic, so commonplace, can be so revolutionary for our audience. They're very curious. They want to know what we're doing. They want to know what our day-to-day is like. So, if you, as an example, you work at a local pizza shop, I mean, people want to know, how do you make the dough? How do you learn how to do that crazy twirly thing that is so mesmerizing as an outsider, right?
Right.
But this applies in any context. I mean, a coffee shop has baristas who have a wealth of knowledge. You know, maybe you work in a marketing context like us, and we're sharing our expertise with our audience. These are things that are maybe commonplace for us, but can provide so much value to our audience. So look for people in your organization who can teach your audience something, and get those people in your content.
And I want to tell you, from my experience, every time, and I've had the battle with clients, they're like, well, I don't know if I want to tell my secrets. I don't know if I want to tell the secret sauce. And I'm like, listen, trust me. And every time, without fail, it works. We just recently we did that for a client, and we had a teach moment where we basically were showing how we're doing one thing, and organically it completely blew up on Facebook. And I'm like, yeah, you're teaching people. That's what they want to see. That's the content. So
Yeah,
great point.
exactly.
Number one is teach. All right,
Teach.
cool. The second letter of the acronym is R. So you said reputable sources, or seek reputable sources. So tell us more about that.
Exactly. So another thing that we tend to do as brands is we only, like you said, we only want to quote ourselves. We only want to talk about ourselves. We only want to use our own data, our own experience. But we can actually bring so much more value to our audience when we corroborate that with third-party sources. So this could be as simple as interviewing your vendors or your clients or your customers, right? So you're bringing in the third-party validation to say, yes, all of these wonderful things are actually true. But on another level, it's also finding a study from someone else that backs up what you're saying, or examples from other companies in the sphere that kind of point to that. You know, again, finding those reputable experts to say, hey, we're bringing on, like you right now, you bring on experts onto your show to help, you know, say, I don't know everything in the world, but I know people who do, and I'm bringing that value to you. So brands can do the same thing. Find those reputable sources, whether they're living sources or just sources of data, imagery, etc., to bring in third-party validation to the things you want to say.
And do you use this magical tool called Google to find reputable sources?
You absolutely can. Yeah. I think, you know, if you operate in your space long enough, you start to know the people who are being quoted, who are speaking at the same conferences as you, or being quoted in the same articles as you, or, you know, any number of things, winning the awards that you wish you won, right? Those are the people who are trusted by your audience. And that's really what it's all about, is finding those people who are trusted sources and bringing them into your content.
Right. One of the tools that we use here is Buzzsumo. I mean, that's one of the tools in the content marketing that we have. And it's a great source because you'll put a keyword and it will aggregate all the most shared content. And you can find a lot of stuff of what people are actually talking about around a specific topic. So that's one of the tools that we use. But I'd be interested to hear from you guys, you know, what types of sources you are looking for, that you are using to find reputable sources. We use Buzzsumo. Do you have something else? Just put it in the comments below, and help us all trying to find reputable sources, always looking for one more better way. All right, so the third point, or the third letter of the acronym, is U, as in unique. What do you mean by unique?
This is such a struggle because, you know, as marketers, we think everything that we do is so interesting. We think everything we do is
Isn't it true?
And people want to hear about everything we do, right?
Yeah.
But the truth is, a lot of the things we think are worthy of stories, we think are newsworthy, they just aren't. You know, putting out a press release, there are thousands of press releases every day. Launching a new product, there's 480 million products on Amazon. So you have to be able to find that special something, that little sparkle that makes your story different. And one of the ways to do that is to look for those superlatives, right? So are you the first, the longest, the oldest, the newest, the only, right? So what are those, what's special about this story? Because simply saying, hey, we're a pizza shop and we make pizzas, like, yeah, you and everyone else, right? But maybe you're the only pizza shop that is staffed entirely by a certain type of person. Maybe, you know, they're ex-convicts who are learning how to make pizza, and it's a social good project. Or, you know, maybe your company is the only one that uses a certain sustainable material in your product, or you're the longest running such and such event in the whole community. So you can, by finding those superlatives, what's unique about your story, the story is going to suddenly become much more compelling, and people will be much more interested in reading it or viewing it or consuming it in whatever form makes sense.
Right. And I would say that and it's a struggle. I'll tell you that because I think that a lot of people are thinking what's unique is actually really not. And I
Hmm.
think that a great exercise that you could do as a company or a brand is to actually ask people out there. I mean, you have tools like, Facebook and LinkedIn where you can reach out to a lot of people and ask them, what makes me or my company or what I do unique, and just see what they respond. And they'll come up with some stuff, and maybe some stuff is going to surprise you, or maybe you'll see a pattern to say, wow, I just never saw that. Like, people keep on saying that this is, what makes me unique. They keep on saying, like, I have a French accent, and I have no idea what they're coming up with this stuff. But you know what I mean? Like, what's unique? Ask out, because you may be blinded, or you may have your own rose-colored glasses where you're not really seeing what's unique about you. And I would ask out. That would be a great recommendation. And
Definitely.
I do that with some of my clients. All right. The fourth letter of the acronym is T. So TRUT, and it's called tension, having something at stake. So what do you mean by having something at stake?
I think this is the one that makes people most uncomfortable. I am not suggesting by any means that you start a fight, that you engage in a Twitter battle.
Oh,
That's
come
not
on.
at all. I mean, you're welcome to, but don't say I told you to do it. The key about tension is having something at stake. So, again, so often the stories we tell, they just are things that happen, right? There's no reason for our audience to care. There's no reason for them to feel compelled to keep reading or keep listening, because the outcome is either predetermined or there's just nothing at stake, right? Like, you think of reading someone's bio, you're like, okay, I know the more I read, I'm just going to keep getting more facts. Now, if that bio was set out like a story and they're talking about their triumph over hardship, now suddenly you want to know, do they make it through that? How do they tackle this problem, right? There's something that there's still some mystery, some tension, some stakes that keep you driving to want to keep reading. So when you do this with your stories, instead of just saying, hey, here's how I became an entrepreneur, talk about the hard parts of that. What was difficult about that journey? Make us care, make us wonder what the outcome is, that we feel compelled to keep going and find out what was at stake, how you move through that. And you can do this through things like underdog stories. People love a good underdog story. Anytime there's a challenge or a debate. But you can also do this without human stories. So something where there's debates or sides of something. So, many of us are probably familiar with Marcus Sheridan and the sales line. So when he was doing the thing with the boats and the pools, right? I mean, you can see where some people are very firm about above ground or underground pools, right? I don't have a particular care, but that's an instance where people have strong feelings one way or the other, right? So if you can engage in that tension of people have an opinion here, they have strong feelings about something. By covering both sides, you keep people wanting to know, well, what is the conclusion? What is the outcome? What should I do? So look for that tension. And this is all true of a lot of other human drives too. Our drive for safety, our drive for health, our drive to keep our families close and our relationships together. All of those things that's something that's at stake for us. So if you can tap into that with your stories, you're gonna connect on a better level.
It's funny because I think you're channeling Michael Port here. Michael Port, which is a connection, another connection that you and I have, which is with Heroic Public Speaking. He's the Michael and Amy are the lead teacher in that organization, and a lot of people know Michael Port, obviously. But I remember starting a speech in front of him, and his point was, to me, immediately, I think you have to raise the stakes. I don't know what's at stake for me, or the stakes are not high enough. And so it's true in public speaking, and it's true in content writing. Like, how do you bring me in? How do you make the stakes are high enough that now I'm interested?
And it doesn't even have to be dangerous. I mean, one of the things you can do very simply is look for mystery. So even at the beginning of this episode, you said we've got an acronym, 5 steps. Now, if you heard that, now you think, oh, if I leave early, I'm going to miss all 5. I need to know the 5, right? So you've created just a little bit of tension to keep things going. If you had said, here are the 5, then what do I have to stay for? you know?
Right. So, what we do it also in when we're doing video presentations or when we start with any video, we actually recommend people to start with what's the pain, what's the issue, what's the challenge.
Yep.
As you kind of like lay the you're just addressing the challenge or the issue that people may be dealing with, because if you bring them in immediately and they can relate and there's something at stake for them and there's something at stake for you, then all of a sudden now I'm listening and I'm in. So absolutely, I think key to be super effective. All right, I'd like to know from you guys what you use to bring tension and to put something at stake in your content. I'd like to hear how you do it, because this is something that I'd love to learn from you guys. All right, so TRUT, and the last one is H, the human element. What do you mean human element?
You know, it's one of those things that we just feel in our gut. It's kind of hard to explain. But imagine a scenario where you could watch this video of us talking to each other, or you could watch a video where it's just our transcripts slowly flowing through the screen.
Right.
In essence, that's the same content. You're still going to hear the same things and gather the same information, but we are drawn to people. People relate to people. And so anytime you can find the person in your story or the people and bring them in, it's just going to connect with people on a much deeper level. So this could mean interviewing people. It could mean finding someone who serves as an example of whatever point you're trying to make. So instead of saying our customers are very successful, find a customer, let the customer tell a story, let that human element come through. So always ask, whenever you're creating content, where are the people here? How can I bring more people into this story? Because people relate to people.
That's true. You cannot talk about what I'll say, the typical features and benefits and just staying with bits and bytes and all this stuff, which is just not relatable. Making sure that there is a human element, that actually is a great way to finish that.
And a lot of these things are interconnected. None of these exist in a silo. You can and should look for opportunities to bring all of this in, because that human element of relating to people combined with a reputable source, there's a testimonial. That's exactly what that is I trust this person, and it's a different person telling me that this company is worth going to, right? So you can see how they all start to weave together. And if that person is saying there's something unique here, I have a food allergy and they accommodated me, well, now you've just added all these other elements. There's something unique about this place that they're accommodating, and there's a tension here that if I'm someone concerned for my safety, I can feel safe in this environment. So they all kind of start to weave together. And those are the most compelling stories. Now that you see this, you're going to find the stories and the movies and the books that you love. They have these elements. There's a character that you relate to, or there's tension. You have to find out what happens. There's something unique about the way they're telling the story. You start to see it coming through in life.
Yeah, it's kind of I'm assuming you're familiar with Don Miller with Story Brand, right? He talks about having a hero and having a guide. And those are the human elements. It's the key of any great storytelling is there's going to be a hero and a guide. And by the way, you're the guide. Your clients on the other side are the hero. Don't position yourself as the hero. Position yourself as the guide.
Right.
So this was great. The 5 keys to effective storytelling. The acronym is TRUTH. T for teaching, R for reputable, U for unique, T for tension, and H for the human element. This was a great teaching moment. Thank you so much, Melanie, for bringing this to us. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are watching this are going to get the hamster in the wheel going and thinking about, what do I need to do with my storytelling and whatnot. So thank you so much for this teaching moment.
Thank you for letting me come teach.
All right, so Melanie, if I'm watching this video somewhere and I'm saying, you know what, Melanie, and this was my impression of you the first time I met you, I was like, she is very bright. I don't know who she is, but she is very bright. And let's say I want to hire you. How can people hire you? How can they hear you? How's the engagement going with Melanie?
Yeah, so definitely reach out. The first step, obviously, is we need to talk face to face or on video or on the phone and figure out what your key challenges are and how I can help. So you can reach me. My website is mdeziel.com, just my first initial and last name.com.
We'll put the link right below, by the way.
Perfect.
And if you're watching this in YouTube, it's in YouTube it's going to be right below. But so for people on Facebook, just spell it out. It's
mdeziel.com.
Perfect.
Yeah. And that has my social. You could find me on just about any network your heart desires. My email's there, everything. We'll connect and we'll see what we can help with.
Very cool. Very cool. So you can find her on the website. By the way, she's a very talented public speaker. She didn't say it. She's too humble, but she is great. If you have a conference and you need someone to actually talk intelligently about content marketing, she's right here. And then you can find her on social media and all of this. Now, I would like to hear from you, comments, suggestions, questions, anything that you have for Melanie, for myself, please put them in the comments below and ask any questions, or post your ideas on how to create content. We'd love to hear. We don't know everything, we just know some stuff, but we'd love if you have some stuff, please share it. If you like this video, well, let us know and just put a click on like. Please share it, and if you're on YouTube, please subscribe. Do it now. And on that note, Melanie, thank you so much for spending the time and teaching us about how to write better stories. And I can't wait to see you. Actually, I'm going to be seeing you soon in San Diego at Social Media Marketing World, right? Which is another place where you can actually see Melanie.
It's
so
true.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. See you soon.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.